whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content. Those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right? I'll holla. Peace.
I'm attorney Gavin M. Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jell-O, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
Go to the Facebook page, ladies and gentlemen, at Commonwealth Cause, at Commonwealth Cause, right here. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. You get updates on when the book will be available for pre-order, as well as when it will be available for final distribution, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., the destruction of due process in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, so thank you all for those who are tuning in on this Tuesday night. The place to be, of course, is right here with me. It is Random Topic Tuesdays on channel GBoot2786. whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you are blessed and doing safe. We'll be discussing the following: man freed from Angola Prison after 44 years. Snoop Dogg and Bishop Don Juan accused of sexual assault in 2013. And in general, just dealing with racist trolls, ladies and gentlemen. All this and more. And we're going to be talking about, let's see, Nino Black says, salute family. I saw that man, Spencer. Laugh out loud, he's a trip. Oh, you talk about the band that was in my on the Facebook page. Nino, I don't know for sure. All this and more, ladies and gentlemen, we have tonight. But first, we got to pay some dues. We want you to go to our website, NawneysCreoleBlends.com, to pick up some nice Creole seasoning. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawneys goes great with every dish, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if you go to Video iTunes Store and get Video Soul, as well as on Amazon and Apple. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, of course, our theme song for the night and always is Gotta Get On Up. So if you're feeling like I'm feeling, come on, baby, let's.
What you got? Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor, baby. Come on, baby, gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. What's up, everybody? Thank you for spending your time with me on this Tuesday night. I know it's late. We're getting it in. I just got off doing some work, man. The life of a lawyer is a busy one. Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight? Nino Black, thank you. You're the only one commenting right now. I guess everybody is asleep. No, wait, hold on. Let's see. We got one who cares in the building. What's good evening to you? Good evening. Sean is not on tonight. One who cares. He'll be on Thursday, where he will take a critical examination of your oxygen and your carbon dioxide and say why it is in crisis. Now, when I take a critical examination of your CO2 apparently is what causes the trees to grow further and further. And the problem with trees growing so further into the sky is that they will give out too much shade, which would mean you do not get enough melanin if you're standing under that tree. Now, if you want to learn more about CO2, I ask you to go to my Amazon page and buy one of my books, CO2 and Why It's in Crisis. It will be available in Kindle and Amazon paperback. That is all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. uh, I'm gonna stop messing with Sean. Sean, if you're watching, please don't hate me. He doesn't. I did an impression right in front of him, and he didn't budge. Only thing that makes him laugh, I guess, is when you get the bootlicks in trouble. But let's go ahead and get this in, man. So I hope everybody, we saw each other on Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm gonna talk about stuff with Super Bowl. I guess I could start it with this, but how many of y'all know I reported last time who watched the Super Bowl first off? More and more, I'm starting to think the NFL is like, and I said before, it's like WWE, just with the stuff that I'm seeing, just the things that, the way in which the game is carried. Because when you watch that game, the referees were let a lot of stuff get out, and it wasn't until the last 3 minutes of the game they started calling penalties. Now, that all being said, I watched the halftime show, and I watched Dr. Dre. I watched Eminem, and Eminem is getting people are talking about him because Eminem took a knee. But did y'all know that Dr. Dre spent $77 million apparently on this halftime show, and they didn't even get paid? Now, if you're Dr. Dre, you can afford obviously getting paid for that. You can afford not getting paid, I guess. Dr. Dre is a multi-billionaire. No, I watched it. That's a good point. Stop bullying that man. I am not bullying the man. I am just making fun. And he does not mind because Sean is not fazed by anything. But I do not watch NFL because I'm busy writing 50 books in 1 hour. Now, I put this up. Now, I'm going to get to it because this concerns racist trolls in a minute. But none of the Super Bowl performers are getting paid for their performance, and Dr. Dre spending millions to make it happen. So Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige won't be paid to perform. And in fact, Dr. Dre spent $7 million himself and bought a box at SoFi Stadium for fans to watch. Now, this person wrote the fact that the NFL can not only avoid having to pay the talent, but have them front the bill as well Just goes to show how powerful the league has become. Yeah. And speaking of that, so I'm watching that, and everybody was talking about it. I thought it was good. I saw 50 Cent was performing, and a lot of people said somebody had this up. They said this was 50 Cent. Hold on. My friend Reggie Raw, fellow comedian, actually had this on his Instagram posts. Somebody had this of 50 Cent. I'm trying to pull it up. Because 50 didn't turn into a whole dollar bill. 50 didn't turn into 50,000. 50 is on that. He's no longer on that broke money, that black people money. He on that power money, that Stars Network. He's not living just the champagne life. It's champagne and caviar. It's champagne, caviar, and buffets apparently. And hold on, let me put it up. Reggie. I'm gonna have y'all laughing tonight. So this was 50 Cent at the halftime show. All right. This is 50 Cent. Somebody had this. I was, oh God, this was wrong. I thought I thought 50 got stunned by a bee. Damn. I 50 has gotten a little thick. Yeah, 50 then got thick as pea soup. But when you get old, 50 is older. So uh, when he first came out back in '03, 50 was about 28 years old. So time changes. You're talking about almost 20 years. Yeah, but anyway, so they had Snoop Dogg on it. Snoop did great. Everybody did a good job. You know who I love seeing? I love seeing Kendrick Lamar performing because Kendrick is my dude. I love Snoop Dogg, and of course, the NFL even told Snoop Dogg not to show up in Rams gear or anything like that. But Snoop goes wherever he wants. Snoop does whatever he wants, and we're gonna talk about Snoop in a minute. But they tried to even get Snoop not to show his NFL affiliation. Eminem performing while he's taking a knee. People are talking about that. Supposedly, it looked like Snoop Dogg was smoking weed while he was there, and I saw people shocked saying, "I'm a loser. You lost a fan." I'm like, where you guys have been the last 30 years? That's been his whole shtick, is promoting this shit. But Snoop didn't care. I'm going to talk about Snoop in a little bit, but I wanted to talk about dealing with racist trolls. So this ties into Snoop Dogg. So I'm going to come back to it. But the NFL even had an issue with uh, Kendrick Lamar's lyrics. They wanted him to take the gang lyrics out, from what I read. So that's Eminem taking a knee, and you see Snoop is wearing the blue and yellow. They asked him not to show his affiliation. He did it anyway. Because Snoop is a member of the infamous Rolling 20s Crips. He's a Crip. He did all of that. He smoked his weed. He was doing the Crip walk, everything. I enjoyed the show. Now, of course, I always thought it was set up basically for Now, what they should have done was had Ice Cube come up. Then it would have been a perfect West Coast thing. But I certainly thought the performance was good. I thought that I thought Snoop did his thing, Dre did his thing, Eminem. Uh, Mary J. Blige was okay. I thought she could have done some better songs. You know, I know she did No More Drama, but if she had broke out with My Life is Fine and stuff like that, that would have been great. Yeah, Nipsey was a rolling 60s. Yeah. So all of this is going on, and I just want to relate this to you now. Here in my hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana, it is not uncommon, especially and anywhere you go, where you're going to see the rednecks come out and talk about certain things. So, of course, with this halftime show, we got this fake outrage shit that came out. And this is a judge. This is a retired judge I'm about to show you, although he does ad hoc out in Livingston Parish. He spent time in the 21st JDC. Sometimes he does ad hoc in Baton Rouge. But look at this. So Judge Bruce Bennett wrote, Super Bowl halftime show. A great time to wash the dishes quickly, put on a scented candle to clear the fried chicken, air quote, air, and possibly do something else important, like clean out my sock drawer before Joe gets the ball again. Just love Super Bowl halftime show. So he put this racist shit up here in air quotes, and I noticed the fried chicken remark. Now, he tried to pass it off like it was nothing. And I had people going back and forth with friends, colleagues of mine going back and forth. He said, I actually fried chicken and it stank up the house. Race car playing morons. And Angela Davis said, you know, and I know very well what you were hinting at. If you're racist, say so. I know you trying to make a puny point by playing a race card. It is just bullshit. It is clearly racist to assume the worst about someone you do not know. Well, there's an old saying, Your Honor, that is, I would rather keep my mouth shut and have everybody think I'm a fool than to open my mouth and remove all doubt. And without any doubt, he opened his mouth and told us he was a fool. Now, I had some of my colleagues, my fellow attorneys, who were talking to him going back and forth. And he is not alone, of course, in saying it. Now, he tried to, of course, pass it along like it was nothing, but everybody knew what he was saying or trying to convey with this. And then he responds, you know, I had a friend who was telling me, well, he invited, my colleagues were saying he even invited them, black lawyers, to his house to barbecue to prove he wasn't racist. But this is what he said: for those who love to feed our grandkids chicken nuggets for those of us who love to feed our grandkids chicken nuggets deep fried in our old granddaddy, you should know that this should be done outside if possible. Bullshit. Who fries chicken outside? If you having a party, a large gathering with people outside, maybe, but not for your grandkids. Come on, man. So he said, let me finish. If not, the smell will permeate your home and you might need to light a candle to clear out the unpleasant aroma. Hey, that sounds like my house. I did my frying while watching the Super Bowl and lit a candle at halftime. I also intentionally missed most of the halftime show because it was lousy in my opinion. I had much more important things to do. I was attacked by members of a far left racist organization for my comments. I reported the racist comments to the Facebook police, and I'm happy to say that they deleted the arrogant, unpleasant, obtuse, and uninvited racist-oriented comments. For once, Facebook got it right. There's no place for racist comments, certainly not on my Facebook page. Please keep them off my page, lying motherfucker. So, we got to be careful with stuff, and I know attorneys have to be careful with their words, but I'm gonna call bullshit on this. He's retired anyway, and it's not the first time we've had judges say some stuff like this. We had a judge back in 2003. A judge actually out in Houma. I don't know if Danielle is watching. Who wore a prison outfit for Halloween and blackface. Timothy Ellender. That was him. Timothy Ellender. He wore, and it went all the way up to the Louisiana Judiciary Committee. He wore a Halloween at a Halloween party, a black wig, black face paint, in a prison jumpsuit. And he tried to use the argument, well, the Zulu members do it. Zulu members and judges are different. Completely different things, by the way. The way the Zulu people, I've told you guys this before with Mardi Gras, Black Americans, well, Black New Orleanians could not participate in Mardi Gras, and they were not allowed to wear masks. It was illegal at that time. So they used the blackface or face paint in order to mock what they were doing with the Mardi Gras Carnival at that time, the whites were doing, and to avoid being arrested. I'm trying to find this. Now they don't even have, they gotta have this picture. They gotta have this picture of it. I'm trying to find it so hard, but I remember distinctly this judge wearing that. And he got suspended for doing it. You said you've never been to New Orleans? Wow. I live, so you got family in Baton Rouge, Opelousas? Yeah. I got family in Opelousas. I mean, after Katrina, we had, yeah, Judge Onanay, we talked about her on my live stream last time. But let me show you all also another little troll that we have to deal with because we're dealing with the racist trolls right now, this topic. And I'm going to get back to Snoop in a second. Snoop and Don Magic Juan. But this is another thing. I had to deal with because I commented on it. This happened earlier today. So a judge here in New Orleans granted bail. And I was reading the case. Judge Harris granted bail in this case because what's happening is she's charged with first degree murder, this young lady, and she has been held without bail for almost 3 years. And there have been defense continuances. And of course, when there's a continuance made, prescription with things gets suspended, of course. But with homicide, there is no prescription. You can bring it anytime. But a defendant under 701 is entitled to a speedy trial. So this happens, and look at this person, Keith Mosley. He says she's black. Let her out to kill again, because the judge lowered the bond from 300. I saw it was 300 and 2,000 to 7,600. So this white supremacist wrote, "She's black. Let her out to kill again." He's from Harahan, just like a Harahan hick. But he doesn't. This pussy doesn't even put his face on here. Mark Frey, who liked it. My friend Mel said, just like a Harahan hick. But they have no chill factor. And he knew what he was doing. But you deal with these trolls on a daily basis. We see them all the time. And sometimes we can, and your boy, I responded to him too. Just if you saw that. But we deal with these trolls, we deal with these people every day, ladies and gentlemen. We deal with them from time to time. And the best way to handle them, you can choose. Some battles are not meant to waste energy over. Other times we got to keep, you know, we got to put our foot on their necks, especially when they hold positions in power like a judge. They got to be, we got to hold them accountable. These are people who are in positions that make decisions that affect the lives of our children. They cannot go, it cannot be left unchecked. So sometimes we can ignore it, sometimes we can't. It just depends on the circumstances. But judges, especially, who get on Facebook and show their true colors, I'm grateful because now we know what we're dealing with and what we're up against. And then the other thing is, we know how to handle that. We cannot let it go unchecked when those happens. But rednecks like Keith, we make them famous too. Find out who Keith is from Harahan. I'm grateful he showed his face. I'm grateful he got his full name up there. So we screenshot these pictures. You can screenshot them if you can. Send them to his employer. Or hopefully he has some black fellow co-workers and see what happens. I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything violent. And yeah, you got free speech, but they always hide behind that. You see, it's easy. A coward will hide behind a computer. He won't say it face to face. He won't say it out like a man. So speaking of that halftime show in Snoop Dogg, I guess I can talk about this. Snoop and Bishop Don Juan, anyway, I spent too much time on that, are charged with, well, they're not charged. They are being sued in court by this unknown woman who is maintaining that she was a victim of sexual assault back in 2013. According to allegations that are filed in a federal court, this happened, and this is being reported by the USA Today. This was an alleged assault and battery that took place in 2013. Now, she's filed a lawsuit. This woman, they don't name, obviously, for essentially, it is a sexual assault case. The news reporters, they will never name the accusers unless they choose to by their own volition, but they don't name who their accusers are. And Snoop, of course, was charged with this, or excuse me, was accused of this, and he's accused of this right at the point where he has the same day he purchased or acquired Death Row Records. So this is USA Today's video on it. They're saying that the allegations were that the woman worked as a dancer at his concert. She said she was coerced into a sexual act by the artist and was sexually assaulted by him and his associate, Bishop Don Magic Juan. She said she obliged out of fear, as she called Snoop's criminal history and previous accusations. The allegations come just days before He was to perform as part of the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, this is old, but Snoop Dogg actually, y'all see I got the likes and dislikes back. Snoop actually did comment on the allegations. I'm looking here at the comments. This person says, "See, I have no problem with you reporting a rape or even reporting a bit late, but it does make it suspicious when you report it at the highlight of someone's career. Snoop is in his prime performing in a Super Bowl, just took ownership of Death Row Records and releasing a new hit album, and now she decides to make her claim. If it's true, I wish her luck and hope she gets what she deserves. But if she's lying, then good luck to her." But Snoop responded to the allegations on TMZ, and I'm actually got it right here. Okay, TMZ likes to do this bullshit. Uh, Copyright strikes on you when you share stuff, so I got to be careful. But he had a chance to respond, and he denies the entire story, calling her a pack of lies. He posted an image on his Instagram calling her a gold digger. The woman demanded just shy of $10 million, and that demand was rejected, according to TMZ sources. Now, what she says is that the plaintiff, back on May 29th of 2013, she attended Snoop's show in Anaheim, California, or one of his shows. And after the show, the woman says the Bishop Don Juan offered her a ride home. Now, everybody knows Bishop Don Juan, a former pimp who's always seen with his pimp cane, his robe and hat, and he hangs out with Snoop Dogg. And it says here the plaintiff was exhausted and fell asleep at the bishop's home. So he drove her home, but not her home, but Bishop's home. She wakes up, she said, at about 4 in the morning, and a bishop removed his penis from his pants and forced his penis in the plaintiff's mouth and repeatedly shoved his penis into her mouth. She says in the suit, Bishop discriminated against and harassed plaintiff because of her sex and gender. She then says Bishop gave her a dress and told her to put it on so that they could go to Snoop's studio, saying, "I want to see if he will make you the weather girl for some TV show." The woman says in the suit she's a model and a dancer. She then claims she went to Snoop's but had a stomach ache, so she went to the bathroom. And while she was on the toilet, Snoop walked in, standing with his crotch in the plaintiff's face, while plaintiff was definitely, oh Lord. Need a swallow while she was shitting? Ugh, that's just sick. I Snoop, Snoop, I wonder how that smelt. Walking in there while you take who I couldn't get no blowjob while somebody's in the shit or taking a shit. I'm sorry. That's beyond sick. That's beyond too much. Now I don't know how many, and I don't care how many blunt Snoop could light up in that bathroom if he did. Even a scented candle, that shit is still nasty. I can't believe none of this. I'm sorry. I you now I'm not saying, and yeah, Snoop Dogg has been accused of, he obviously had that murder charge he beat back in the '90s, but he was acquitted. He's had his history, we know, with drugs and so forth, with, well, particular marijuana. That's his thing. And I saw Sean's video on it and how he says that this could be karma for Snoop Dogg because for years Snoop Dogg, as he claimed, has been pushing uh, white supremacist stereotypes on black people. You know, the thug life, the thug image. I remember when Snoop Dogg showed up to uh, VH1 awards, on the MTV awards rather, with black women on in dog chains while he's walking around with a leash. Now, the flip side to that is, and I actually know someone uh, who is actually going to be one of the models, but she declined it, and that's the thing too. See, everybody wants to blame Snoop for that, but these women were also willing participants when they walked on the red carpet with Snoop Dogg. See, I can't just blame Snoop. These are grown women. So this is what I'm talking about here. And coincidentally enough, in one of the photographs, Don Magic Juan is right behind Snoop. Now, we know, and I've already said that Don Magic Juan is an associate of Snoop, so that's no surprise. But they're claiming, and look, Nikki, who is this? Nikita Dragon, she had men on leashes too. So it's not just men that do it, women have done it too. And again, these are grown women. These are not kids. They chose to do that. Yeah, he's always playing a pimp. He's always playing a hood, somebody that got out the pen. I I wanted. I'm surprised Lisa Bloom and Gloria Allred aren't the attorneys on the suit. But they asked for. She asked for $10 million, and you see the thing I find about this is that's suspicious, and this is where I defend Snoop on, is that it's only after he acquires Death Row Records that allegation comes forward. And we have seen this pattern of black men who will get accused of something, a la Bill Cosby, where Bill Cosby wants to buy NBC. And contrary to Moise Lamont Hill's uh, repulsive remarks in that hit piece, and don't worry, that is coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm waiting for the right time to release it. That is coming soon, my response and rebuttal to that. But Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC, and the proof is there. If you look at the articles from 1992 and 1993, respectively, from the New York Times and Variety magazine, as well as the Guardian, which reported back in 2011 that Bill Cosby was making another bid in a quest to buy the National Broadcasting Company. Every time a black man goes about trying to do something, he is met with an allegation that will either derail him from acquiring this intellectual property or it destroys his career. We saw with Sam Cooke, in his case, it destroyed his life where he's accused of raping a prostitute at a seedy motel after he passes up several major hotels in the Los Angeles area. He decides to go into the seedy part of town to rape a hooker with his Ferrari and clothes and $5,000 in his pocket when he could have paid the hooker. But okay, they say he was a rapist. And remember, he had his publishing company, one of the first black artists to do that. We see with Michael Jackson. Michael wanted to buy the Beatles. He eventually does buy the Beatles catalog, the Sony ATV. And shortly after that, in the 80s, the press, it started with the BBC calling him Wacko Jacko. Then we saw, I talked about Bill Cosby. Another thing that Michael Jackson tried to acquire, he tried to acquire Marvel Comics in 1993 with Stan Lee. And in 2002, he also tried to acquire Universal Pictures. But we know sometime right after that, the allegations of sexual abuse on children started to come in. So there's a pattern here. And then we got, of course, there's dozens of others, men from Tupac Shakur who gets accused of rape. The woman even talking about how she gave him a blowjob the first time they met and all this stuff. And All of this stuff that just goes on. I'm seeing now they're even doing dry runs on Prince. Prince is dead. They tried to do a dry run on him. They tried to do a dry run on Denzel. They had one on Wesley Snipes with Jennifer Lopez. Everybody, any black entertainer is gonna get it. Like Eddie Griffin said, nobody leaves this business clean. I'm surprised they haven't. It's been 30 years since been dead. I'm surprised they haven't come up with something on Sammy Davis Jr. But then again, Sammy was messed up with his taxes, so that's another little asterisk. So was Red Fox and Joe Louis. Mike Tyson, of course, we know the stuff they did with him. I mean, it's not a coincidence. Barry Bonds is not even in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he is the all-time all-time home run leader. They're worried about steroids when they got Mark McGwire swole ass up in there. We know Mark McGwire was juicing like Popeye. Wasn't spinach he was eating. Motherfucker was swole. I remember when Mark McGwire was swole. I thought his arms was gonna pop. So, I don't like what happened with Snoop in this. And look, the allegations, yes, they could be true. I doubt it just because of the timing of it all. And this is another thing, women, ladies, if you're going to file a lawsuit, now, it doesn't mean that that it doesn't happen, but anytime a lawsuit is filed first before you file criminal charges, if you wait so late, I find it suspicious. It does come across as odd and suspicious. So I don't know how true this is. I don't know what will happen. Snoop has dismissed it. Obviously, the statute of limitations has expired probably on it as far as the criminal side. She has not been, there are no charges pending. This is a lawsuit. It's possible it could get dismissed. So we'll find out more. But I mean, man, I'm wondering who's next. So Snoop Dogg, and it may not do that much damage to Snoop Dogg anyway, just because the timing of it. But if they got more women coming out or something, just watch. Yeah, the Negro Leagues are finally being counted. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that Cash App at the bottom too, since we're doing this late. I usually see Darius from Atlanta, but he might be in bed by now. But we got 22 people that are hot and heavy in here. I'm sure Danielle has gone to bed by now because Danielle would be counting on him. But DeAndre, my Slidell brother. So I see Nino, you have said you got family. Why? I wonder why you never visited New Orleans yet. Now, I lived out in Baton Rouge for a long time. I got family that live in Opelousas. I have family members that moved to Opelousas after Katrina, Opelousas, Lafayette area. Which, by the way, I'm going to be back in Lafayette in March for that comedy show. We rescheduled it. So if you're out in Lafayette, I'm going to let y'all know when the date is. Then we're doing it St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, but I will confirm it for sure as it gets closer. But that's going to be cool. But I need y'all to hit that Cash App, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that Cash App since we're late tonight. So we'll figure out what happens next. So the last thing I want to talk about, though, is this man from Angola Prison who was freed after 44 years. Oh, this is that. We're going to leave these bastards. We're going to get a drink. It's because they were partying. They got some secrets on you. They got some secrets they ain't never shared with you, Nino. What happens in New Orleans stays on your camera phone. Well, if y'all were kid, well, no. What happens in New Orleans, stay, I guess, stayed in New Orleans, like Vegas. They went down in the French Quarter and saw stuff that no Christian should ever see. Somebody ran into one of them queens. And drag queens we got out there. Hopefully it wasn't in June when your folks went on the Southern Decadent. Oh, they would definitely tell you not to come and say nothing about what they saw, what they witnessed. Motherfuckers running in dresses. So let's talk about this next thing, though. This, in all seriousness, a man was freed after 44 years in prison, Angola Prison. 44 years. This man was free, has been freed. Now, this is coming from KLFY. Judge dismisses rape case after man serves 44 years in prison because he found it to be an unfair trial. So we're going to play the video in a second. I'm going to pause it, but I'm going to read a little background story. The man is Vincent Simmons, who is 69 years old. He's free after he was being sentenced when he was 25 and spending 44 years in prison. Avolays Parish District Attorney Charles Riddle will not prosecute and has dismissed charges against Simmons. Riddle said the time Simmons served is sufficient and the victims don't want to go through another trial. He was sentenced to 100 years in prison for the attempted rape of white twin sisters. Now, y'all listen to this.
This is KLFY News 10 Morning Rush.
The time is now 6:57. Let's get you caught up on today's top stories as you head out the door with the News 10 Morning Rush.
Good morning, Acadiana. I'm News 10 Roderica Taylor. Authorities have confirmed the discovery of skeletal remains in New Iberia. The remains could be connected to the disappearance of a young woman. If you have information, call Crime Stoppers at 337-364-TIPS.
An 11-year-old boy was killed following a shooting Saturday night in Morgan City. A 14-year-old boy was taken into
has been set free. It's a court ruling out of Marksville that has gained national attention. News 10's Renee Allen joins us live now with reaction from there.
Yeah, Darla, Vincent Simmons was convicted about in 1977. That's 44 years ago. He was convicted of raping two 14-year-old sisters. Well, today, a district court judge in this courthouse behind me here ruled that Vincent Simmons deserves another trial based on the fact that the evidence that's available to us now was not available when he was convicted. But the prosecution took the stand and stood up and said no trial. The prosecution said that the victims, they don't want another trial after all that they've already have gone through, and plus the victims believe that Simmons has served enough time. In essence, he's free to go home. We had a chance to catch up to him outside of the courtroom.
I feel good.
Were you expecting this?
No, I wouldn't have expected it.
Yeah, and this is a change to this man's life and a change to his family's life. You can only imagine he spent all that time in prison, 44 years, and some of that time in Angola Penitentiary. Now, we also spoke to the niece outside of the courtroom after the conviction was vacated, and she says she's just excited because she's been waiting for this moment since she was a young girl. Reporting live, Renee Allen, KLFY News 10.
All right, thanks, Heath. The Department of Wildlife and Fisheries says an
Well, new tonight, after serving nearly 45 years of a 100-year sentence at Angola, Vincent Simmons is free. Take a look at this. You can see him walking out of the prison gates here just hours ago. He served more than 4 decades for attempted aggravated rape of 14-year-old twins back in 1977, a crime that he maintains he did not commit. Alex Orenchuk was at the Bulls Parish Courthouse today and has more on what led to Simmons' freedom.
Judge William Bennett granted Vincent Simmons a new trial, making it clear that Simmons was not given a fair trial when he was convicted back in 1977. The judge said this was due to both new evidence and evidence that was not presented in trial over 4 decades ago, including a medical report from the then district attorney that said the 14-year-olds that accused Simmons of rape had no evidence of sexual assault. Those representing Simmons say they never saw that information until after he was found guilty. Following the decision from Judge Bennett, Avoyelles Parish District Attorney Charles Riddle stated that he, with the consent of the 2 victims, Karen and Sharon Sanders, would not retry Simmons. Riddle said while he believed there was enough evidence to convict Simmons again, quote, for what purpose would he make the women go through another trial?
We've had enough. We fought for 44 years. We've had enough. We got 44 years. We're happy with that. We're tired. We want it behind us. And then he went in guilty. He's still guilty. And he'll die guilty. We got our 44 years. Praise God.
These 2 decisions now make Vincent Simmons a free man after serving nearly 45 years behind bars for attempted aggravated rape. It's a crime Simmons has claimed he was innocent of since his arrest in 1977. Simmons' attorney, Justin Bonus, had this to say about the decision.
This is the first time he's ever received justice, and I think Judge Bennett said it on the record. And God used Judge Bennett to cut him loose. So for 28 years, his petitions were being denied. The 16 other years that he was in there, that evidence was being withheld from him. Think about that. And what I think people really need to think about is it could be you. It could be you, right? And people don't think about that like that. That it could, this type of thing could be done to him. You could be framed and in 60 days thrown in prison for 100 years. That is shocking.
Now that Simmons is free from Angola, we're working to learn what's next for him. He's set to turn 70 years old this week. In Avoyelles Parish, Alex Orenchuk, News Channel 5, your local station.
To answer your question, Lamiko, let me see if my mic is on this time because y'all was saying my mic was muted. They said there was evidence that was excluded. There was evidence excluded, and he did not get a fair trial. So there was a photograph. What it was that there was a photograph of him being in handcuffs during a police lineup, and the medical records of Sharon and Karen Sanders, the twins that you saw saying he went in guilty, he'll die guilty, didn't show any signs of sexual assault, as well as other testimonies from other witnesses. The other thing, too, is that in his original trial, it happened 60 days after the allegation. So, well, that's white women for you. So within 60 days, you make an allegation, and then all of a sudden you get convicted of an attempted, and that's the key, attempted aggravated rape. An attempt means that you tried to commit the crime, but you did not complete the ultimate goal. So you can still obviously be convicted of that, especially if it's an attempted theft, if you play attempted armed robbery, things of that nature. Those things do happen. And yes, they praised God, he'll die guilty. Well, let me correct all of you, and it's the same thing with the Bill Cosby situation. You see, some people are what I call Facebook attorneys. They see a few episodes of Law and Order and think they got everything handled down. Well, that is not the case. When someone is convicted of a crime, they are by law guilty. However, there is also a process that happens after that where that person has the right to have their case looked at by an appellate court. And if the appellate court finds errors had taken place that are reversible errors, they will grant that person a new trial. Or in the case of Bill Cosby, what they found was that he should never have been tried in the beginning. So the verdict that was rendered is treated as null and void. It is null and void, especially if they grant a new trial. While it does not declare necessarily, well, first off, they say it doesn't mean he's innocent. You can't plead innocent. You plead not guilty. That's how it's always been in court. You plead guilty, you plead not guilty, you plead not guilty by reason of insanity or nolo contendere, no contest. Some people, when they plead guilty, they plead under an old Supreme Court case called Alford. Alford means, by the way, I got to clarify, this is not legal. This doesn't constitute an attorney-client relationship. So if you get in trouble, don't say Gavin represents me. I do not. I'm just telling you what I know from history and my study of law. Alford basically is an old Supreme Court case where a defendant pleads guilty, but they plead guilty because not that they agree that the facts make them guilty or the evidence that the state has, but because it is in their best interest to plead guilty. I'm pleading guilty on my own fruition. That's different from pleading under Alford, whereas I'm pleading guilty only because it's going to benefit me. Judge not unless ye be judged. Well, this is the same thing that happened. Well, I'm more taken aback by the fact that it was 60 days. That's only 2 months. From the time an allegation is made to the time you're arrested, you go to arraignment and you set it for trial. So within 60 days, sometimes cases get continued and backed up before they're cleared on the docket. But this man was convicted in less than 60 days and sentenced to, in more than 60 days and sentenced to 100 years in prison at hard labor. And he went in as a young man at 26 years old, and he's leaving as a 70-year-old man. Just think of the people that sit in Angola Prison. And if you've ever been there, Angola is basically a large farm out in West Feliciana Parish. It's a farm. Yes, it was a jury trial. 11 whites, 1 black. And that is another issue. Did he get a jury of his peers? They showed pictures of him in handcuffs, which prejudiced the jury. That all plays a factor. You have a Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. This man lost 44 years of his life that he will never get back. You know, my girlfriend and I, we were talking about this case this morning, and when I played the story to her, she said she's wondered why the DA said that. And he said, well, he was probably saying he's not innocent, so that way he could avoid filing a lawsuit. Yeah, that's true too. That could be a possibility. But the other thing is, DAs are, you know, this guy thinks this man did it and is not man enough to admit that they were wrong. That could be another possibility. That's what I think. They were wrong. You were wrong, nigga. You were wrong. You were wrong, white boy. You lost 44 years, took 44 years from this man. I don't think he has children. He said his niece was waiting for him. If you have children, that's sad too, that you never got a chance to see your kids grow up. You had to watch them grow up behind bars. And the most interesting thing was what this attorney, Justin Bonus, I take it this is the pro hoc vice attorney. That means an attorney that practices outside the state. He says this is the first time he's ever received justice. And I think Judge Bennett said it on the record. And God used Judge Bennett to cut him loose. Judge William Bennett out of Avonlea Parish. That's the same parish out in Marksville where those 2 black state troopers went to jail for shooting up that car that killed that young white boy when the father was driving the kids around, swerving and doing all types of shit, ignoring the deputy's calls to stop. So he's out of the 12th, Marksville, that's the 12th JDC. And y'all look at this. Hold on, I just want to put this up. This is a mostly Democratic. That party is mostly Democratic. You see that? Where this happened? Louisiana is actually, there are more Democrats that live in Louisiana than they do Republicans, but we have what we call blue dog Democrats, where they're staunchly conservative. And yeah, you go in prison as a rapist, that's the worst thing. A rapist and a child molester. Child molester is the worst thing. But when your conviction is overturned, your presumption of innocence is restored. They're not going to retry him, thank God. And what would be the point? They would be wasting taxpayer money. They would not want to put the victims through it. So they were okay with it. Unlike this asshole up in Philadelphia, I'm sorry, in Montgomery County, your Kevin Steele, who wants to go back and have the Supreme Court charge Bill Cosby again. And that's why these documentaries are popping up. The Me Too movement has taken major L's this past year. Back in 2021, when Bill Cosby was acquitted, was released from prison, you had many of their movements, their leaders get called out. They had to resign, like from Time's Up. They had to resign because their own, I think the one lady whose son got caught doing stuff, allegedly, he had to step down. Governor Cuomo, who was an ally, he had to step down. They found out that he was getting help from one of the attorneys from Time's Up. So all of that stuff was going down. And they took some major L's, and they could not do anything in 2020 when Joe Biden was running for president and Joe Biden was accused of doing some things. It made them look like hypocrites. Hello, Bernard. So, Mr. Simmons, I would love to have his attorney, Justin Bonus, come on this channel and talk about his case, as well as Mr. Simmons. So we're going to try and make that happen. I'm going to find out. I can get in touch with his local attorney. We're going to make that happen sometime soon. I'd love to have them come on and tell his story on this platform. Who would like that? Give a thumbs up if you do. So his attorney out here in Louisiana is Malcolm Larvin. So I'm going to get in touch with him soon. But yeah, you spent 44 years in prison. And I'm going to ask him about what he thinks with those twins. But yeah, man, yes, and it happens more often than not. A lot of people don't know that. You have to, well, according to what you have to be able to prove evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And sometimes they like to get people, I'm just being real, they like to get people on something from time to time. Well, it's interesting. The attorney out in that parish, apparently, he said he inherited from his father. So I wonder if his father was the one that was originally working on his appeal. But I wonder what would make, I know Tom Mesereau. Tom will take capital murder cases in the Deep South. He does them pro bono every year, at least one. So it does happen. It's not impossible. But yeah, they purposely took this man's life away, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful he's out, and he gets a second chance to be with his family and not spend his last days in prison. But it wasn't a grassroots organization. It was AstroTurf. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, most definitely. Well, you all, let's do this. I want everybody, and I got to check because some people are having some issues, and I promised I was going to look at it. NornisCreoleBlends.com, ladies and gentlemen. Nornis Creole Blends. Did I share with you all? Did y'all see where Judge William Bennett, the information? Hold on. Let's see. I want to share this just so you all will have it. But yeah, I was showing you. So that's not Judge Knott. I didn't want her. Judge Knott is out here in New Orleans. No. Judge Bennett. Why I went to Judge Knott? Judge Knott went to law school out in Loyola, apparently, here in New Orleans. But why does it keep going to Judge Knott? All right. Well, anyway, let me get out of here. I was trying to show you, Judge, some information on this parish, but for some reason, when I go to it, it's not letting me. Judge William J. Bennett. I'm going to just do this. This is easier. Why I didn't think of it, I just wanted to put the hyperlink here. But yeah, that's the breakdown. 49% Democrat, 27% GOP, and 24% independent. That's in Avonlea Parish. Avonlea is parish. So that's interesting. But yeah, we'll reach out to them. And let me say this too. I gotta close this out on this. This is just something random, but yeah, y'all go to NornisCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, on fish. Nornis goes great with every dish. Somebody was telling me, and I saw this. Thank you, brother. Somebody was telling me this, and I saw this. Your Sha'Carri Richardson was complaining. Has anybody been watching the Olympics, the Winter Olympics? Probably not. But this happened. I can't leave tonight without just discussing this. But Sha'Carri Richardson, we know, who was suspended from participating in the Olympics, questioned the Russian Olympians' eligibility after she tested positive for doping. She's referring to Kamila Valieva, if I pronounced that correct, who's Russian, who's a skater who tested positive for a prohibited substance, whereas Sha'Carri Richardson tested positive for marijuana. On Monday, the IOC decided to allow Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva to continue competing in Beijing despite testing positive for a banned heart medication called trimetazidine, which can increase endurance. The contradicting decision to allow the Olympian to compete despite failing a doping test did not sit right with the former LSU track star. She asked for a solid answer on the difference between Valieva's case and her own. Can't we get a solid answer on the difference of her situation and mine? My mother died and I can't run and was also favored to place top 3. The only difference I can see is I'm a black young lady. Well, the stipulation the IOC required is that no medal ceremony would be held for Valieva until her case is resolved. The IOC, concerned that she could still be banned after a full investigation, said it would organize dignified medal ceremonies. Now, her coach, Atiri Tubersadai, said on Saturday, even though there are still many unanswered questions about the case, we are absolutely confident that Kamila is innocent and clean. And here's the thing. Here's the difference between Sha'Carri and Valieva. And I think this is what it was that the U.S. officials, the United States Doping Agency, are the ones who came at Sha'Carri over the smoking weed, the marijuana that she admitted she smoked on live television. The other thing is Valieva, if you read a New York Times article, she had attorneys that were working on it, and that was the key, a team. She had attorneys doing this. Now, a lot of people, though, were not happy that Valieva, even at the Olympics, was participating, but they stayed on code with this because even the announcers, when she was skating, didn't comment on it. Outraged Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir deliver atypical curt commentary on Kamila Valieva's skate. NBC figure skating commentators did not shy away from the controversy surrounding Kamila Valieva when she took the ice for 2022's Beijing Olympics. She says, all I can feel like I can say is that was the short program of Kamila Valieva at the Olympics. Weir said at the conclusion of the Russian Olympic Committee athletes program. It was an awkward performance in which Lipinski and Weir, known for bold and fashion and fresh commentary, each noted one difficult jumping pass, but gave no emotion to it and did not give any further critiques. Now, she blames it. Now, remember, Sha'Carri was saying she got caught smoking. She smoked weed after the death of her mother, but her lawyers, and that's the difference, Sha'Carri, you should have gotten a lawyer. This 16-year-old had lawyers, but the Court of Arbitration for Sport, after she had tested positive and a day before the competition, they upheld the reversal of the previous provisional suspension. They cited her status as a protected person because she's a minor. She's under the age of 16. And her lawyers argued she was accidentally contaminated with the drug from a product her grandfather was taking. So was this airborne? What type of product he was taking? Was he taking it and he bopped it around his mouth and it accidentally popped up in the air and somehow you said, hey, what's that? Ah! And it fell down your throat? Man. Look, Sha'Carri got burned by them Jamaicans, so I don't think she would go top 3 even. But I was pulling for her in the Olympics. But of course, pretty white girl with problems, Russian girl. Yeah, but this is some BS, boy. And a lot of people were not happy with it because she was allowed. But U.S. Doping Agency, Anti-Doping Agency, and the IOC are 2 different organizations, and that ultimately is the difference. But I get what she's saying and understand. You have a similar situation, similar situation, different circumstances that abounds, and different results that happen that have happened with it.
While these rules have specific provisions for evidence, for different standard of evidence, and for lower sanctions in case of protected persons. The panel was therefore concerned that if a provisional suspension would be imposed on the athlete, and later, at the end of the day, after the completion of all procedures, she would not be sanctioned or would have a very low sanction, the provisional suspension would have caused serious damage.
Right. Well, again, Knight Rider, the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency versus the IOC, they're 2 different things. The IOC didn't suspend Sha'Carri. It was the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. So they're the ones that controlled Team USA and said, you can't perform. Marijuana is still banned, even though they're decriminalizing it across the states, rather. So I get, yeah, I knew it was coming. So the doping agency, they issued the sanction. What's up, computer robots? You said she came in the top 3 in a meet after the Olympics in Italy. Well, I remember her racing the Jamaicans and got smoked. That's what I remember. She probably did. Yeah, she's still fast. And she beat my ass to a race. I wouldn't challenge her. So yeah, that was the Anti-Doping Agency. This is when they issued a sanction for anti-doping rule violation. Against Jamaicans, and that's another thing. If you smoking weed and can't beat the Jamaicans who live off that Pass the Dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the Dutchie on the left hand side. Bibaka, you smoking me ganja. Shut up. You smoke me ganja. I'm about to kill a punani. Shut up. She couldn't, and that means marijuana can't even, if the Jamaicans could place first and she couldn't, then that means marijuana is not a factor, in my opinion. The Jamaicans live off this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that because all Jamaicans do not smoke weed. I'm rooting for her too. I hope she pulls through. I think she'll be fine. You killed the punani? Shut up. No. Stop the blood clot flying and go ahead and get with the dying. I was watching Mark for Death, I'm sorry, with Steven Seagal and Screwface. Tell him Screwface is dead. Judas. Buck, buck. Buck, buck, buck. In the meantime, if you want to advertise on the channel, go to gavin.drich1@gmail.com. Or if you want the Patreon, Patreon man, GPO2786. There you go. Of course, you got to get your nannies on. You want your nannies seasoned on the chicken and the fries and the fish. You want it on everything, man. Go to nanniescreoleblends.com. In the meantime, download Video Soul. It almost sounded like it was Scottish. Nicole is doing fine. Yeah, we'll have to have Nicole come up. I already know Black. I'm about to get out here myself because it's getting late. I got to get back to some stuff and prepare for the morning. But you all be safe and be blessed. But in the meantime, go get Video Soul on Apple, iTunes, and iTunes and Spotify at the Apple Store, right? Let's go on and get on up. Excuse me. It's getting late, man. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rod. Cool runnings. It's bobsled time. Good night.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Because on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop. I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor. Come on, baby, gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Shut up! You smoking me ganja. Shut up! They call me Mr. Bombastic, every fantastic. And the weather, where they go, boom. Shabba.